New Brunswick is a growing province. It is fast becoming a diverse province here in Canada, and it is becoming more active when it comes to immigration. When I say immigration, I mean international students, landed permanent residents, foreign workers, and even tourists who come here and see for themselves whether or not this is a province for them to live in. Now, in this video, I want to discuss with you or to tackle with you the job opportunities here in the province of New Brunswick. Hello everyone, this is Raisa and welcome to my channel, The Quest for Wealth. Now, I have to warn you from the beginning that this will be a longer video because there are many things or various things that I have to tackle or I have to discuss with you. But before we jump into the job opportunities or job market, first let us discuss wages. And the second thing, very important, is French speaking or not French speaking. When we talk about wages, I have to tell you, New Brunswick is the second lowest minimum wage per hour in the whole of Canada. So the lowest one is Saskatchewan, which is $11.45 per hour. Here in New Brunswick, we are at $11.75 per hour. And then the next one is Manitoba. Manitoba is about $11.90 per hour. So that is your blue-collar kinds of jobs. Now, when we talk about the skilled professionals, when we say skilled professionals, these are your accountants, your IT specialists, your sales representatives, your bookkeepers, and so on and so forth. Normally, with these kinds of job, the average annual salary is between 50 and 65,000 per annum in this kind of level. French-speaking or non-French-speaking, I would say, and I've been living here for 3 years, and I do have friends who definitely do not speak a single word of French, and we are okay. We are not just getting by, but we are assimilating in this society. It is not necessary to speak French to be able to find a job here, really. So it's not necessary, not even the capital or St. John or Moncton or Dieppe is a requirement to speak the language. Now, if you go further north or further to the east or northeast, which is essentially going to Quebec, to the province of Quebec, then those places, French speaking is more required. But here, majority of the cities and places here, I would say it's not necessary. So we jump to the actual jobs that we want to discuss. We will focus on 6 industries here. So there is the construction and infrastructure, telecommunications, accounting and finance, retail and sales, health occupations, and sales and service occupations. So construction and infrastructure projects. Now, the province and the federal government have got a pipeline of infrastructure projects here in the province, and these projects will run until 2026. And by that time, by 2026, I can only imagine that there are already, again, a new set of business or project pipeline that will be set well ahead into the future and will be finished well ahead into the future. So these projects are predominantly highway projects, water system expansion projects, wastewater systems, and recreational building projects. Aside from the federal and the provincial funded projects, there are also the privately owned projects form of construction, and this normally are the housing market. As I have been tackling or I have discussed in the previous videos that I have published, the housing market is an absolute high. It's a market on on cannabis, I think, or maybe not cannabis. There's steroids. It's a market on steroids these days, and therefore, because of the huge demand for housing, the construction industry is experiencing a huge demand on raw materials, on employees, on architects, project managers, etc., etc. Essentially the professionals in those industry. Now, because of the pandemic, there had been a delay in the supply of the various raw materials. Nevertheless, there is the demand for the construction industry, most specifically in the housing market. Now, am I able to say with the government-funded and the provincial and federal and the privately funded projects here in the province, am I able to say that really this market or this province is a hot market when it comes to professionals such as engineers, architects, project managers, health and safety, HVAC or the the people who are essentially in the construction industry. Is it a hot market? I cannot say that. See, I work in the construction industry. I work for a certain company that essentially supplies tools for the construction industry. Yes, the industry is a growing industry, but it is not something that I would say it really the professionals in these industries is a huge demand in this market. I do know people personally who had to move from here to other provinces because their profession is essentially not in demand, and these people are architects and engineers. So that's the bitter reality of it, but I am telling you the reality as it is right now. It is not something that I would say that is truly an in-demand kind of job here in the province. Although the province is growing, that's for a fact. And when the pandemic is done, everybody will go into the workforce, and the raw materials supply will become normal again. And then by that time, we have to wait and see how the economy will react on the availability of the people here and the projects and the construction and the pipeline. Our second industry focus is telecommunications. See, New Brunswick is home to various telecommunications companies. These are the Rogers, the Nordia, Nova Communications, Concentrix, and so on and so forth. Now, when we talk about telecommunications, I pertain mainly about call center jobs, and call center agents are always on a boom here. It's a kind of job that if you land here and you are on immediate need of income or a job, being a call center agent is something that should be on your radar, and it is always on demand, and it really pays well because the hourly rate for call center agents is higher than the minimum wage. It will run between $16 and $20, and if you are in the managerial position, your hourly job or hourly wage will be higher. So I do consider being a call center agent as a transitional kind of job, meaning it is a kind of job that you can have, and it's a beautiful job. I mean, I do have friends who are call center agents, and they love it, they enjoy it, and they like it. And if you are a kind of person that you need a transitional job while you look for the actual kind of job or the professional background that you have, then being a call center agent is something that you definitely can consider. Our third industry to focus on is accounting and finance. See, the big four companies, the Ernst & Young, KPMG, Deloitte, and Pricewaterhouse have got their offices here. But aside from those four companies, the accounting and finance industry here in the province is certainly looking very positive. Companies here are in demand of qualified accountants. So the province sees a high demand and low supply of financial auditors and accountants, and even more high demand in the next 2 to 3 years when the pandemic has subsided. So if you are in this industry, you are a CPA, and you have got various certifications, even better opportunity for you. If you have landed here and you are essentially studying is not a problem with you, and you're absolutely receptive of the idea of further improving your studies and your certifications, you have got a long, great trail of professional success in the province if you are in the industry of accounting and finance. The fourth industry is retail and sales. I believe and I think most of you would be aware, or you know for a fact, how the retail industry had taken a beating when the pandemic hit. So many people in this industry have lost their jobs. As a matter of fact, back in 2020, the request or application for employment insurance in Canada, it really hiked up because of the job losses. But according to the government's reports, the retail industry is now being more active than usual, and they're looking at having the level of employment in the retail industry at the same level before pandemic in the next 2 years. So many people have gone online shopping because of the need for safety and distance these days, and that had the online shopping industry had taken jobs from the physical retail and sales service industries. But there is a good news. There was an announcement by Walmart, the U.S. Company Walmart, and they said or they announced that they will put up a facility worth $56 million in the Atlantic, specifically in Moncton. So this project will create about 200 employment opportunities in these employment opportunities will range from blue collar or the rank and file up to the high management, of course, as you can imagine, because when you have that kind of huge investment, you would need the cashiers, and you would need the sales and the retail service people, the purchasing executives, the HR, the sales managers, etc., etc. So it really will create a huge rank or a huge echelon of different job opportunities. Now, with this kind of announcement, you can only imagine that this will also affect the construction industry, because in order for them to build the facility that they need, so of course they would need contractors, they would need employees, they would need raw materials, and so on and so forth. It essentially is a domino effect here in the economy that we have here. Health occupations. This is our next topic. So health occupations essentially are the nurse aides, the patient service associates, even the registered nurses. These are the kinds of positions that are in need. Generally, actually, in the province, there is a deep need for health employees. Really, one of the major, I'd say, challenges or problems and issues here in the province is that there is a huge demand for registered nurses. But to become a registered nurse here, if you are an internationally educated nurse, it will require you so much time, so much resources, so much money. You have to study, you have to take so many exams before you can become a registered nurse. And even if you are from Alberta, for example, and you come to New Brunswick, you will have to transfer your license from Alberta to New Brunswick. That is not a big deal, really, but you can only imagine the hurdles that a registered nurse will have to make happen or to go over with in order for them to be a registered nurse here. Now, the Association of Registered Nurse here or Nurses here in New Brunswick, I'm not sure exactly what they are doing or what the government is doing to resolve this issue, but this is one of the major issues, that there isn't much registered nurses willing to be a registered nurse here in the province. So what happens is that an internationally educated person who is a registered nurse from their original countries would rather really work in the homes or in the as nurses assistant because there's so much money involved, so much resources, so much time, so much studying in order for them to be a registered nurse. So that's one of the issues. But once you become a registered nurse here, being a registered nurse here is it truly is it's a good profession in the whole of Canada. Most definitely in New Brunswick as well. So aside from being a registered nurse, there are also other job opportunities when it comes to health occupations. There are the nurse aides, the patient service associates, the and other kinds of jobs within a certain care home facility, for example. And generally here in the province, there had been a huge shortage of workers when it comes to this industry. Most definitely in the remote French-speaking community. So if you are a French speaker and you are receptive of the idea of living and working in more remote areas of the province, and you are absolutely receptive as well of working as a nurse's aide or in a care home, then being in this job industry is an absolute possibility for you. So that is something you can consider. I do have friends as well, and I do know personally people who make this industry or this kinds of job as a transitional kind of job as well, because this occupation is always, they are always hiring. It's always the case that people are needed in care home facilities. So if you are a freshly landed or you are a student, you just landed here in the province and you are in need of an urgent source of income, then being a worker in the industry of health occupations or the industry of health services this is something that you can consider as well while you look for an actual job that you want and you have the professional background on. And our last industry that we will tackle is the sales and service occupations. These are essentially the food service attendants, the retail salespeople, food and beverage, cashier, kitchen helpers, cleaners, etc., etc. These are, I would say, blue-collar jobs as well. And again, these kinds of jobs are always in demand. It is a minimum wage kind of job. Nevertheless, it can be another transitional kind of job for people who are in need of immediate jobs or immediate source of income. So there you go. There are the kinds of jobs that are in demand, not so in demand in the province. Now, for me, and I will give you some examples here. For me, I landed here in April. And I started my job in June, middle of June, and the job that I had, my first job, was essentially the same job that I was doing in Dubai. It was essentially business development and sales and business development for international markets. It was in the industry of oil and gas. So the position itself, it was not the kind of position, or the hierarchy essentially was lower than what I had in Dubai. And for me, it was okay. I was just starting and it was fine. So it took me April, May, June. It took me barely 3 months to find my kind of job. Really, I do have friends who have and who are working in the same kind of jobs that they had where they came from. I do have a lot of friends who came from the Middle East, and they are essentially what the job that they have right here is the same jobs that they have had in the last professional years that they have had. So my point is that you are able to find the kind of job or the kind of professional background that you have had or you have been practicing. The goal is for you, or the key is to just turn every stone and truly apply for the kind of job that you want. So how do you find a job? It's the usual suspects, really. You just have to go on LinkedIn and Indeed.com. There are instances that a friend or a connection would refer you to a certain job, but that I wouldn't say that is something that is predominant. I would say that Indeed.com and LinkedIn are the major ones that would definitely provide you information on the jobs here. So there you go. Those are the job market industry here in the province. The province is not, New Brunswick is not comparable to Alberta. New Brunswick is not comparable to Ontario. Those provinces are way ahead of us. They are much more economically independent than New Brunswick. But the thing is, and I think this is very important, is that the province is growing. The province is becoming more diversified, and the province is providing more opportunities for people like me and you and other people who are willing to thrive in the economy that the province is giving. So thank you very much for your subscription, for your likes, for your comments, and I truly appreciate it. If there's any video or any topic that you would want me to tackle or publish, please make that comment in the description. And yeah, thank you very much. You have